tuning into the destination for TV super fan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Guys, I can't even tell you how much I love this song. It's like the perfect karaoke jam.
Yeah.
From their tower they get, because you can like scream sing it. You know what I mean? It's not. It doesn't require you to be like a lyricist or a vocalist. You could just go for it, the gusto, and I love it. Welcome to Animation Weekly. I'm Joelle Smith, and this is Carrie D, and we're back in the studio. I'm so excited. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Yes.
She wasn't expecting that question. She wasn't ready for it. What's happening, Carrie D?
It's my first holiday without my dad. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay, challenging.
It's a weird question every time I get it because people are like, "So how's your Thanksgiving?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, the day of, we had a nice time."
Good. I'm
We'll say
glad.
that.
There's a lot of emotions, which I
about you?
respect. It was delicious. I made my first Thanksgiving.
Yes, I saw
by
you had
myself.
some awesome photos.
I had a lot of people helping me. I was really appreciative. But I'm Joelle Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique every week at blackgirlnerds.com. And to my left.
And my name is Carrie Lane. You can find me online at Carrie D Lane. That's Karidlane. But I did like when my mom was like, "I don't want to do anything," and I'm like, "That's totally cool." So she's like, "We're gonna go to a restaurant," and our whole group, the restaurant had a turkey sandwich with cranberry. Everybody ordered that and just got different variations. So it's like
really appreciate
we all
that.
still wanted a turkey thing, but we're like, no, we're not doing it.
We're not like getting it. You know, that makes sense. It makes sense. It's good to take a step back sometimes. Speaking of family, actually, Coco. Okay, so now I have a question because
And I did go see Coco.
I haven't seen Coco.
Right.
You've seen Coco.
Yes.
A lot of people are coming back to me, talking to me about Coco.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, my friend's father actually passed away about a year ago.
Okay.
And she's half black, half Mexican, and she said the movie was incredibly moving for her, but also comforting. In watching it, she had a lot of like familial flashbacks, and the dad, and they reminded her of her dad. And I'm getting that reaction from a lot of people. Was that kind of your interpretation of the film?
I was very excited to see the film when we first saw trailers for it, like way back when. And then my dad passed in August, and then now that it was coming out, I was like, oh, I don't know if I can. I'm like, I'm gonna bawl my eyes out, but it wasn't as sad as I thought it'd be for me. So,
Okay, everyone's telling me I'll cry a river of tears, so that's kind of comforting to hear. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how much. Like, I'm like, prepared to cry at the beginning and ends of Pixar films, but if I'm crying through the whole middle, that's too much crying for me.
No, because the thing is, it's no direct like. It's his mom and dad don't die kind of a thing. It's
Right,
nobody immediately, and it's such a extended family thing. It's more you're learning about his great grandparents, so it's a little more. There's some distance there, so it's not quite so like. Oh, it's not like you met that character and they die. Or anything. It's not that, so that's good. I think a lot of people are so happy to see the representation, and that's what's causing, I think, a lot of people to tear up because they're recognizing characters in that film, and they're like, "That's my grandmother. That's what my grandfather's like."
I know there's a moment where the abuela takes off her shoe and beats somebody with it, and I had a friend online like, "This is just the most real thing." And I was like, "That's really awesome."
So I think it's like a happy tears of finally seeing that representation. I saw somebody on Twitter, they were saying like their boyfriend cried because like seeing the little boy main character like was like seeing themselves finally on screen. So different. I don't think it's quite like sad tears now that I've seen it and looking at it objectively. I think a lot of people are more just like it's just overwhelming like happy kind of tears.
Yeah.
But there is a reprise of a song "Remember Me" later in the film.
Oh,
that
boy.
was like.
Oh boy.
But I like that you said your friend found it comforting. I'm like, yeah, in that way, because it is the ones you care about are still with you.
Yes.
As long as you remember them. So then that was really good. The short Frozen beforehand is too long.
Let's hold off and talk about that because you have a lot of thoughts on that. But I actually want to roll the Coco video that I pulled. I got to see a behind-the-scenes sneak peek of the film. We had one of the lead character shader come in and talk to the school where I work about what that process is like, and I really appreciated this scene.
The animation is just absolutely stunning. The whole movie.
My God, it's so beautiful.
Look, if you're too scared, then well, have fun making shoes. Come on.
Like, you know, they're done very characteristically, like, you know, characters.
Yeah.
But it's the world they're in looks so real.
Yeah.
I'll be your first audience.
Well, it's based off a real town, which I didn't know. And actually, one of the animators is from the town. Not a planned thing. Like, it's not like they went and hired an animator from the town. They kind of just come across him. Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go.
Abuelita, what are you doing here? You leave my grandson alone. Doña, please. I was just getting trying to say. I know your tricks, Mariachi. What did he say to you?
He was just showing me his guitar.
Shame on you.
My grandson is a sweet little angelito, querido cielito. He wants no part of your music, Mariachi. You keep away from him.
And there's actually a lot of good comedy in the film too, even with the like tears. So that's nice too. But it's not like
I laughed a lot. We saw
Yeah.
maybe 4 or 5 scenes, probably no more than 20 minutes of the film. And I thought it was really spectacular. As you say, it's beautiful.
colors are stunning,
When they
especially
get to the
go
City of the Dead, they told me they used over 1 million lights.
Wow.
Over 1 million, like, hand-placed digital lights, which is really incredible. There's been a lot of chatter on the news, on the websites, about the film they showed before. Now, Pixar has become super famous for these animated shorts that they
Yes.
show before. My favorite one is Paper, which is, oh God, the black and white. It's super beautiful. I forget which movie they showed that before. It brings you to tears. It's a full story. This one is an Olaf story, which a lot of people felt like this has nothing to do, not only with the movie, like whereas Inside Out, which showed before, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, no.
Well, most of the times the shorts aren't really connected with the film, which
Sometimes
is fine.
they are, like, thematically or even, like, tonally, I would say.
Well, the one before Moana is the I mean, there's a beach, and it's
That's-
following your heart versus your head, kinda.
Well, and it's finding your own way.
Yeah,
That's it. It's just finding your own.
loosely connected.
Yeah. So that kind of thing. So you saw it. Well, how did you feel about Olaf's Adventure?
The only problem I had with it is when I went in, I loved the originality of the new shorts that come out. So I'm kind of like, oh, well, we already know these characters and everything. So you lost that originality. Kind of like, oh, like you're disappointed. You know, you're like, oh, I'm so excited to see this new creative thing they've come up with, and you're just like, oh, it's just Frozen, which I have nothing against Frozen. I think it's
I have a lot of things against Frozen,
well,
but
I
we don't
think
have to
it's-
get into it
I think it's
here.
overrated.
Oh,
but it's not-
the most overrated. Oh,
But it's not like a bad movie. And so this one, I felt the short is extremely long. It's like 20 minutes long.
Woof.
And then without being original, you're kind of like, okay, where are we going with this? Because with the original shorts, you'll watch at least a 10 minutes like, oh, what is this new thing? You know, but this, you're like, so we're still
I
going.
want
It's
this.
still going.
And most of the shorts aren't over like 10,
They're-
max 15
Yeah,
minutes.
no, so 20 was kind of long.
And the
like,
film
it's its own
itself is kind of
special.
long too, right?
It's just under 2 hours, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's an hour.
That's a lot of time to ask kids
And for
to
children.
sit.
Yes.
So interesting choices being
And-
made here.
It was timely in terms of it is family and tradition because it's like Elsa and I'm like, great, what is her sister's name? But the two daughters, like, they don't really have family traditions of their own, so it's kind of discovering what those are.
Okay.
So there's that aspect.
Anna is the sister.
Anna, thank you. I'm like,
We were there. So close.
That's how much I love that movie.
So
No.
good.
But that one was kind of almost more sad because it's like holidays and family and tradition. So then for me, I was
Okay.
like,
I'd like to be past this point.
can we get on to the Coco thing?
Well, that makes sense. Holidays,
it's cute.
family, tradition, all Coco
But it's
related
cute,
things.
but it's maybe it should have been its own thing, something else.
Yeah.
Like watch it online or watch it on Disney Channel.
Well, was Olaf in spring, I think, was the short they did after the first Frozen came out. I believe that was
But
a
if it
short
was
they
10
added for the
minutes,
DVD.
that would have been fine.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that I think they added that one for
yeah.
the DVD release. And then I know Anna, I believe, had her own special too, which, if I remember correctly, was shown, like, had a premiere on Disney Channel, if I'm remembering correctly. So I get it. I know that there's, like, a Frozen 2 is probably imminent, and so it makes sense to be like, hey, kids, don't forget, like, you got short attention spans, like, stay
Yeah.
focused. But yeah, I don't know. I'll have to wait. I'll tell you guys next week how I feel about it when I get a chance to see
I
it.
did hear, I think it was in Mexico, people were walking out during the Frozen thing because it was just too long. And they're like, no, stay. The Coco is going to play. It's up next.
I love that. Just to
'Cause
be
then
like,
you
I
think
came
it's a
here
different
for
movie.
Coco.
Yeah.
What is this?
My theaters were sold out a lot, actually.
Oh, dude, I've seen a lot of sold out tickets,
Yeah.
which kind of sucks because I have the movie pass and I can't use it unless I'm 100 yards from the theater.
Check if you can on some other service where you can see how many seats are in the screening.
That's true.
That's what I do before. And then, like, know where a backup theater is because I had to do that for Justice League. The one theater I went to was sold out, so I had to go to the other one. But then I get to the other one that's like, Coco isn't available until like 10 p.m. tonight or something like that.
Boo.
So
I live like 4 blocks from a theater, so I'm thinking about just like doing drive-bys.
Yeah.
Like, can I get in now? No, okay, fine.
also, I talked about this on my box office breakdown. My theater the one I ended up seeing Coco at, did so much decoration for Coco, which looks
really
cool. And I don't think that was necessarily like the Coco advertising
Not
people.
Disney,
I just think
it's
it was
the
this
theater.
theater that was like, hey, let's do that. Like, they had them everywhere.
Now, we're in Southern California. Do you live in a heavily populated, like, Mexican area?
There's a pretty high
See, me
Latino
too.
population
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, they had like kind of garland things hanging in the window of the flowers and like little skulls in it.
Oh, the marigolds?
Yeah. Well, they were
Oh.
multicolored.
Okay.
So they had like that in the like how the ballet folklorico dancers have like the flowers in their hair, kind of like that. So they had those in the windows. They had it like at the food counter. They even had a little placard of like explaining Day of the Dead. They had some like cardboard cutouts of skulls that they had painted. That was like, this theater went all out. So I was impressed of. Like, you went in there and you're like, decorations everywhere.
Send us pictures of your theaters if they're decorated, because I'm
Yes,
curious as to how
please.
many theaters actually did this. Moving on to Teen Titans Go. Now, okay, if you guys follow me online, you might know that at times I've given the show some things. I've come to realize as I've matured and become a better adult and a better human, that there's no problem with the show. The show is like almost perfect. It's just not the show I had when I was a kid, which is why I started with that old music. That's what really gets me going. It was so dark and like drama-y and heavy teen angst, and it hit me just at the right time. But now that I get to go back, now that I've actually seen this show through children's eyes, I understand like why it is so successful. And the success has lent it to its 200th episode, which is insane for any cartoon to get to 200.
How many films have they had? I know they've had at least... They had one that came out recent. Oh, wait, no, it wasn't Teen Titans Go. It was regular Teen Titans.
Yeah. So Teen Titans, the TV show, had like Teen Titans Take Over Tokyo or Go to Tokyo or something, which was a TV-length movie. Now, I have not followed Teen Titans Go enough to know if they've had their own in-house movie, but I do know that for their 200th episode, they called it, oh my gosh, hold on. It's so silly. Where did it go? I lost it. It's like a hyper-aware episode. Like the creators animate themselves and put themselves in
that's
it.
awesome.
It's really ridiculous. It talks about what it takes to develop and make an animated show. So we brought up a little clip. I just want to show you guys.
This can't be them.
They are putting me under the well.
These are the guys that control our destiny?
You think we control you?
Ha! You control us.
Our whole lives revolve around you guys.
We've been making one episode a week for 199 weeks. That is a very aggressive schedule. That would be better than making us.
Spending time with my kids.
Wait, where'd it go?
They are the cute.
Come on, how hard can it be? All you do is write fart jokes.
Those fart jokes come from character.
But if you don't write a new script, the Teen Titans will no longer exist.
That's not true. The Teen Titans will live forever. You know, as reruns.
Comics.
So, that's it. That's all you have to say?
Can we get more bread?
Okay, cool. Thanks for nothing.
Who knew the guys who controlled us were such jerks?
Too bad we don't control them.
That's it. We need to control them.
But we are just the make-believe, and they are the real.
Haven't you learned anything today? Make-believe becomes
They
real
have
if you
pictures of the
believe in it
animators
enough.
and voice
All we have to
actors
do is
on
write
the
an
walls
episode,
of the restaurant, for those of you who
about
can't
Michael and
see.
Aaron writing the
Oh,
200th
wow.
episode, and then we'll continue to exist.
That plan makes the pain in my head.
That's real meta.
I once had a doubt.
No, Beast Boy. Meta means... Ugh, never mind.
You two are about to become stars of your own animated episode.
That's
Okay.
fine. I'm not really interested in anything.
You know.
You wonder if like their writing team came up with that or if that's something they did. It's called the Self-Indulgent 200th episode for obvious reasons.
That's funny.
This show has been really great at breaking the fourth wall, especially in recent seasons. Beast Boy got to do like one of the best raps I've heard on a kids TV show ever. Usually they're very corny and like ABC rap. He gets into it. It's fire. The voice actor who does him essentially is Beast Boy in real life. Like there's a lot to enjoy about this show. And so first of all, congratulations on your 200th episode. Super exciting. I'm excited to watch it. It looks like a lot of fun.
I've watched a little bit of Teen Titans and some of Go, but it'd be more interesting to go back now and like sit down and
See, I
actually,
feel like
sit
you'll
through.
like Teen Titans because it's an American anime, but not as well done as like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay.
You know, so Avatar: The Last Airbender gets all the strikes right. This one, it gets a lot, but it's so much more comic book based.
Okay.
You know, I would say it's more like a manga that's been animated, which I know is essentially anime, but think more of the very like traditional styles of manga.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of like bold blacks and kind of simple lines and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really cool though. You guys can check. I should have gotten the date. I'm really great at this job, guys. But we'll get it for you next time. Big Hero 6 returns to television.
That's one of those like
I miss.
can hear that in your voice. I'm like,
I miss Big Hero 6. Like, it's maybe one of my favorite animated films in the last 5 years. It could be top 3. I'd have to really think about it, but I love Hero so much. I identified with this character immediately. He's a kid who's like wants to be tough and wants to take on everything, but doesn't ever stop to think about it. What? So me. Just charging headlong into situations. Of course,
also, it deals with loss that isn't
sure
always. Normally, it's like parents.
mm-hmm.
So
that
different
unexpected
kind of
loss. Like they had already lost their parents, so for him to have to go through
I
that.
mean, like
and-
typically with kids, it's like
Yeah.
just their parents they lose. So
Yeah, and that's what I said, that unexpected loss,
Yeah.
and then he had already lost his parents, so having
Yeah.
to come back and through all of that is so much. But they've decided to continue the story on television, which I couldn't be more excited about. Big Hero 6 was a comic book. They did a lot of crazy adaptations to the film. They're taking it strictly from the film's perspective, and they're kind of picking up. If you watch the film to the end, there's like a little I don't have words. It's like a conclusionary piece at the end where they show Hero decides to
Okay,
go to
yeah, yeah.
college and
Uh-huh.
he's gonna like kind of step into his brother's shoes. They really flesh that out. So let's take a look at the clip real quick.
I'm Professor Granville, your new Dean of Students. Welcome to San Francisco Institute of Technology. I trust that we are going to have an excellent year, which means hard work.
Some of us are trying to work.
Mr. Hamata, turn around.
Nah.
Private labs are not for first semester freshmen.
Oh, this is my brother's lab? Or was?
Tadashi was a gifted young man. He worked hard to earn this lab, as I'm sure you will someday. When you're ready.
I'm ready now. Look, I'm rebuilding Baymax, my brother's healthcare companion project.
Mr. Hamata, if you want to live up to your brother's legacy, you should start by getting to your classes on time.
I could not agree more. Punctuality is very important. It was so nice to...
Tick-tock, Mr. Hamata. Don't want to keep your thermodynamics professor waiting. I hear she's tough, but fair. Intermittently.
We have a black educator, which is so exciting.
Teen Genius has decided to join us. How did you? Shortcut. I can tell.
You cannot.
Let's begin.
Talented.
Nice.
Oh, I didn't realize we were still doing the whole superhero thing.
Yeah? Wait, where's Hero?
Said he had something he needed to do after school.
I really like this animation style too. I wasn't sure how I felt about it at first.
Likewise, I was like, but the more I'm watching it, it's fun.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I don't think
No,
so.
thank you.
Why not?
Also, if it's not going to be the just like what we saw in the movie, it's nice to be a little different.
Yeah. It reminds me a lot of 16, which is one of my favorite animated shows. I think it's super underrated. It's that same kind of style.
Except for the coloring, I was gonna say Jackie Chan's cartoon.
Oh, I
A
also
little
see
bit
that a little
how they're
bit.
doing the faces.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And the hands being a little more square
Yeah.
on the fingers.
I don't want to lose anyone else.
But there could be a supervillain out there right now about to...
Face it, Fred. We aren't in one of your comic books. This is the real world, and in the real world, there are no supervillains.
Well,
One more time. Where's my money?
I lost it.
spicy tuna.
Go ahead and take the call.
I want to live in San Francisco. I'm not gonna lie, the food looks great. It looks beautiful.
Whatever you need.
Dope campuses.
And where is it? Done.
Dun dun dun.
Please work, please work.
Hello, Hero.
Baymax! Yeah, the hug's not really... We'll have to stick with this for now, buddy.
Ba-la-la-la-la-la.
Yeah.
Body. I am not able to feel
I know.
because I do not have tactile receptors.
Oh, right. Don't worry. I'm working on it.
Ooh. Nice montage moments.
Definitely. I also really like that we get to see Hero both trying to be his brother and failing to be his brother at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of these shots are the same shots. We saw Kadeshi working with trying to build the original Baymax, but he went to class and like studied and stuff. He was patient. That clip goes on to show Baymax basically saying to Hero like, "Hey, okay, we need to run like some tests, and it'll take about 2 weeks." And he was like, "I'm not taking 2 weeks to do this. Like, I have things to do." And of course, it all falls apart after that. So that seems to be the precipice of where we're starting. Are they going to be superheroes or not? How important will school be to him, and in what capacity? This premiered on Disney on November 20th. It is now on Disney Now, which is great. I love the app. Almost everyone has returned. Jamie Chung is still Go-Go. Genesis Rodriguez is still Honey Lemon. Ryan Potter is Hero, which is great. I love cast Ryan Potter in movies. My God, that kid is so striking, and he's incredibly talented. Damon Wayans didn't come back. They've replaced him with Carrie Payton, who, let me make sure, but I think he also has done the voice of Cyborg. Yep, he does Cyborg.
Nice.
And he's Ezekiel on The Walking Dead for fans of that show. And the perfect choice. Carrie's literally perfect for everything. So yeah, I'm really excited for this show. Disney's done a bunch of these this year. They've got Tangled, got its own TV series.
I would need to look at it again because when I first saw like how they were doing the style, I was like,
for Tangled.
Yeah,
it's like very flat storybook kind of.
Okay, well if you look at it as a storybook, that makes it a little better.
That's how I kind of picture a lot of Disney's newer. Like, you get the feeling that they're trying to move into more of a 2D space.
But you can be really pretty with 2D, and I felt it was, like, really... Because Tangled is beautiful, and so I felt that they kind of lost a lot of that.
Okay, interesting.
But I'd be curious to go actually sit and watch it.
We might have to do, like, a little watch party and come to some conclusions.
Tangled's, like, one of my favorite.
I really enjoyed... Tangled was, like, a surprise for me. I wasn't expecting anything out of it, and then I was like, oh, my God, Mandy Moore? What? So talented. And she comes back to do the show, which I think is great. Almost all of their voice actors come back for the show. So kudos Disney's for retaining great actors. So Teen Titans, the original series ran from 2003 to 2006. I feel like Teen Titans Go has already doubled that length of time. Like, I want to say they come on 2010, 2012 area. So yeah, so there are 3 years compared to like at least 5 years of Teen Titans Go. You didn't watch either show, but I'm curious for fans why you think Teen Titans Go has had a longer run. What makes it more successful? I know with Teen Titans, that's in an age where Cartoon Network is really pushing for 13-year-olds. Typically cartoons are like 5 to 8 years old, which is definitely the range for Teen Titans Go. Not that you can't enjoy it beyond that, but they just make sure that it is age appropriate and that the content connects with that audience first. Just like most content is created for 13-year-old boys. So Cartoon Network during the Teen Titans original run, early 2000s, late 90s, is focusing on preteens because at that time, all cartoons were geared toward 2 to 5 or 5 to 8. And I remember getting to that age.
I don't think that was the stuff we watched, but...
Well, no, totally. If you think about it, right before 98, you know, you've got the Animaniacs are out, early 90s.
That was some of those were very educational, though, too.
Absolutely. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. But that's just the right points. Those are like, it's educational. Yep. It is child-friendly with a little bit of adult humor.
Some action and peril.
It takes the same thing that Looney Tunes has done for decades, which is like mostly for children, a little bit of jokes here and there for mom and dad, a little nudge wink kind of things, but appropriate for all ages, but again, mostly for, fart jokes, people getting hit with hammers, and that works. But I remember when I was becoming a preteen around that time, I was like, oh man, I'm aging out of cartoons, but I love cartoons, and I'm kind of not fully ready for MTV. I was like watching it, but I was like, eh. And then, we have Ed, Edd and Eddy come out. We had pretty much Cartoon Network's whole lineup was like, 13-year-olds, you don't have to, you're not abandoned. Dexter's Laboratory is here. We have great shows for you. Teen Titans is one of those shows for me. It was hugely influential to my life, just in that I spent a lot of time watching it, and I really appreciated both Starfire and Raven. Mostly Raven was so dark. She was amazing. So curious as to why you guys think this is it the age thing? Is it because it appeals to a wider audience? It's not as angsty, which really you can only be into super angsty shows for so long before you're like, I need some sunshine in my life. Or is it something else? Let us know what you think. Let's get into some of our news topics for this week. First up, we have Sony's Star. Star was the retelling of the birth of Jesus, mostly through the animals and like villagers. Maybe a star appears.
It's just this, classic, like Christian Christmas story, but it's told from the animal's perspective, which when I first saw the trailer, I'm like, actually, that sounds really interesting because it's a story that's been done many
We've had a lot of a revival of religious conscious cinema lately. If you've seen The War Room was one that came out, I think, earlier this year. There's a bunch of them. Not really my forte. Not really what I'm into. I knew I was going to skip Star the first time I saw the trailer. I said, this is not really a movie for me. However, Gina Rodriguez is in it. Oprah Winfrey is in it.
A lot of good voices.
There's a huge talent, which really sucks for Sony coming off a terrible year, because Interstellar was their big, it was supposed to be their like smash breakout, didn't break any records. They haven't really had a bounce back since then, and now we're here with Star, which again, a lot of people behind it means a lot of money behind it. First week 10 million, second week 6 million. Really bad time to come out. Justice League.
Maybe they should have pushed that one closer to Christmas.
I honestly think, but see, then they're competing with Star Wars. It's a train wreck for the end of the year because Disney has honestly, they're like, between Marvel, Disney.
It seems younger though. Like Star Wars is probably your, 8. It is full family, but Star is like younger full family. You would go maybe.
I don't know that lifestyle because my dad was taking me to read art films at 2. Like I really don't. Like so if it was
and I've been to theaters where there's little kids and you're like, well, it's rated R.
If it was a popular action adventure film, my father would take us. I saw Jurassic Park when I was like 3 or 4. All of those films. Predator. My dad was like, yeah, sure, it's totally fine.
Oh no, I was not allowed to watch rated R's till like forever.
So my parents were like, sex, no, shield your eyes, like blood and guts,
sex,
like go for it.
Yeah, they weren't.
Yeah. So Star only earned 6 million this week. It would have been really challenging for them, I think, to find another time to come out. They probably chose the best time. All things considered, because again, Disney really did block themselves out with.
Actually, next weekend, nothing comes out next weekend. Just push it back and like.
Right, but then you don't have the lead in to get you to that. Because the thing is, like, when you have so Coco comes out. No, I'm sorry. Go back. You have Justice League. So DC's got that. Then Coco.
Yep.
Then Star Wars. Really, there's a week buffer between the 2 weeks.
Pretty much.
No, Coco came out last week, so really only a week. It's not a lot of time. There's not much they could have done. It's unfortunate. I'll be interested to see if they have a spike at Christmas going to movies on.
Maybe.
So a lot of people go to the movies on Christmas to escape crazy family they don't want to be around, but they still want a holiday kind of warm feeling.
Yeah.
A lot of those people are not Christians celebrating, or people who celebrate Christmas, because Christmas has become kind of a segregational holiday.
Well, and actually, yeah, we can have all kinds of debates on like what people do for Christmas.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Movie theaters are open. People go on Christmas Day.
So
I know I've gone.
Yeah, I love the movies on Christmas. There's really nothing better. There's just enough people there where you're like, oh, okay, but not enough where you're like, I'm overwhelmed and there are too many people. The popcorn is hot. Yeah. The staff is tired and not expecting to do much because it's the holiday. I worked several Christmases at a movie theater, so I know we just kind of chill in the back. We're like, do you need something? Take it.
I've done
no
Christmas
one cares. We're done.
At a video store, not a movie. I worked during the summer, so I didn't have to do the theater. But video store, lots of people come in because videos are the babysitter.
They are. Christmas. And children, sit quietly, please. Enjoy your new toys. Deadline has released 26 films that they think the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences might choose for their best animated film of 2017. Some movies on the list, I'm already like, please God, I hope not. Not because the films are terrible, but just because, like, Oscar, one of those films, and I'm sad to say this, is Captain Underpants, which is a fun
based on a
film.
Successful book series.
It's a immensely successful book series. When it comes to it might already be out on DVD. I don't know. I kind of want to do a special on Captain Underpants because for my my kid brother, it was like a hugely transformational book series. It got him into books and it helped him learn to read. And it's kind of this standout book series for a lot of young boys who are like, I don't care to read about girls on ponies. I don't care to read about things that happened 1,000 years ago. But this weird dude in underpants that is also a principal that is being controlled by kids. It's like Bart Simpson, appropriate for very little children.
Though that totally makes me think of, have you seen and then viewers, have you seen this? There's a clip, it was going around on Facebook where a mother and daughter went to a library, pulled all books that only have male characters as the protagonist. Then they kept pulling out being rescued by men, and like, so down to what are the stories where it's like a strong female character, and like an entire full bookshelf went down to like 5 books.
I believe it.
And it's like a very good visual, powerful visual of them pulling out like, okay, this doesn't count, this doesn't count. But I think it's interesting that Loving Vincent's on this list, because I think animated and most of these are more like youthful. And I'm like, that's a regular movie, just it's animated.
I would be shocked if Loving Vincent didn't get a nomination. It's one of those movies that people won't even watch, and they'll be like, well, of course it has to be on the list. They hand painted every frame. Like, that doesn't make sense that it would not be there.
I did see the Sword Art Online movie, which was really good.
Do you think it is Oscar worthy?
It's interesting to think of an anime movie in Oscar. No, in the sense of, I mean, it's still good if you never watch the show, but some of the value of it is from watching the show, and I think I would want something that's more standalone to win.
Okay, totally. I think the Breadwinner will also be on there. We talked about the Breadwinner a couple weeks ago. It's still a movie I have not seen, but I'm desperate to see. I'm going to start reaching out.
Coco, I should hope, gets something.
You've got to think Coco's breaking records everywhere.
Oh, Lego Batman. I have a lot of records.
Loved Lego Batman. It just came to HBO. So if you have the HBO Go or HBO Now app, you can watch it again over and over to your heart's content. It is the only movie that understands Bruce Wayne and addresses his issues in a head-on way, and also recalls every Batman movie ever made at some point. Best Easter eggs in a film, the Oscar should definitely go to Lego Batman.
Ferdinand, which is coming out,
say,
which looks cute.
Ferdinand is a really high contender. Ethel and Ernest, I think, will be a high. If Emoji Movie gets anywhere near a nomination, I will scream.
There's some of these that I'm like, ugh, I really hope this doesn't.
Right?
I'm
No.
Like, no.
I have not seen Moomins and Winter Wonderland.
Which one was a silent? Oh, wait, no. What's a silent voice?
I'm not 100% sure.
I'm like, that sounds familiar.
My guess is Star will not be getting it. Nope. My entire high school Sinking into the Sea Academy, if you're listening, let it get into the Oscar pool. Like, let it make top 10, even if it doesn't make the very final ones. My entire high school Sinking into the Sea is definitely a film you want to check out. It's got a black young female protagonist / savior. Her high school's literally sinking. It's beautifully animated. Like, it is worth it. You were saying about A Silent Voice.
I do know what it is now. I was like, wait a minute. I reviewed that movie and I saw that. That's a animated movie from Japan, and it's about a girl who's deaf. And I don't think I've seen any anime that deals with any hearing or muteness or any sort of, I'm like, I don't want to say disabilities, but like
and hearing impaired,
real life things. Normally they're a little more fantastical.
Sure.
But she's bullied as a little kid. Like, they take her hearing aids and like rip them out of her ears and stuff.
What's wrong with people?
Oh yeah, no, it's horrible. You're like, oh my gosh, like these kids are just bullies to her. But then she meets that bully like later in high school, and just like, how do you reconcile that? Like, how do you apologize for it? Because like later he's much more like, I was a horrible child, and there's a lot of other things that happen that are like really heavy, and it's see that one I cried, happy tears, like they were so like, oh, it's so good. And then there's other moments where it's like, oh my gosh, this is so sad, but it's not a depressing movie. But that one was really good. If you guys get a chance to see A Silent Voice, I like that one a lot.
Definitely. I also looked at The Window Horses, The Poetic Persian Epiphany of Rosie Ming. We talked about this a little bit earlier. This is the story of the half Chinese, half Persian girl living in Canada who goes back to visit her father's family in Iran, I believe. And what are the stories and poems he told her, and how do they affect her and the way she views her native home country. It looks beautiful. I would also put up this. So our short list basically is Window Horses, The Poetic Persian Epiphany of Rosie Ming. maybe silent voices because dealing with something of that nature.
Yeah, a silent
how
voice.
did you feel? I'm sorry, a silent voice. What did you think of the animation?
Oh, it's very beautiful. It's interesting because I was looking on here and I'm like, I don't see the other one. There was another one called I thought it was Voices of a Distant Star. It was another one that also came out that people were like comparing to. It was another anime film where it was like a boy and girl, and this is not exactly what happens, but in a nutshell, they both see a meteor and at points switch places in body. Like you are suddenly in a man's body, and it's like, what's going on? And
I saw the trailer.
They
for
start
this.
leaving notes
nuts.
to each other.
I wonder what is that from last year? Is that why that's on the short list?
That was this year, though.
I am really confused because I've heard a bunch of good buzz about that.
I like
movie.
that one too, but I thought I liked a silent voice more. But I know a lot of people connected to the other. Your Name. That's what it's called. I'm sorry. It's called Your Name.
Okay.
Because the whole point in the movie is they're kind of trying. They don't know the other person's name,
right?
And they're trying to track them down so they could meet each other in real life,
right?
But then there's funny elements where they deal with like sexuality too, because like when she's in his body, like going on a date or not, and like trying to get him a hookup, and like how much she enjoys that and how awkward is it, and it's just a fun way to explore sexuality in that way, and just not something you're expecting because you're like, wait, what? This is an anime? Hi, what's going on?
I'm about this life. I'm shocked that it's not on here. We'll have to check the release date.
Yeah,
maybe it didn't quite reach the cutoff.
I thought that came. Oh, you know what? Maybe I know I saw it in like March of this year, but it might have come out in Japan before then.
Which would definitely make it ineligible
here.
here. It's got to come out within the release year. Okay. So Window Horses. We said A Silent Voice. My Entire High School Sinking into the Sea, Loving Vincent. I'm going to say Lego Batman probably won't get a nomination, even though I think it was great. My guesses are Coco and The Breadwinner.
Yes.
Rounding out our top 6. So tell us what you guys think. What movie should be nominated? Did Deadline miss any? Is there something that should have been on the list that wasn't? I'll read the whole list just so you guys know what Deadline thinks. The Big Bad Fox and Other Tales. Bird Boy, The Forgotten Children, The Boss Baby, The Breadwinner, Captain Underpants, The First Epic Movie, Cars 3, which beautiful, oh my god, Cars 3, talk about leveling up for animation. I still don't think it'll get a nomination, but wow. Cinderella the Cat, Coco, Despicable Me 3, The Emoji Movie, Ethel and Ernest Ferdinand, The Girl Without Hands, In This Corner of the World, The Lego Batman Movie, The Lego Ninjago Movie, Loving Vincent, Mary and the Witch's Flowers, Moomins in the Winter Wonderland, My Entire High School Singing into the Sea, Napping Princess, A Silent Voice, The Smurfs, Lost Village, The Star, Sword Art Online, the movie.
Ordinal Scale.
Okay, thank you.
That's the whole title, yeah. It's a long one.
Window Horses and the Poetic Persian Epiphany of Rosie Ming.
I'm just curious what they're going to do, because I've definitely watched the awards, and I'm like, this was nominated or this one. Like, certain years you're just like, that was not as good.
I feel like the animation category is always solid. Oh, also, good news point. The Academy is changing how you can vote for the animation movies this year, which is interesting because they usually have a very low turnout. Unfortunately, Hollywood has stigma against animation. That's just cartoons. It's for kids, blah, blah, blah. We all know that not to be true. We ignore them. But they're saying, look, if you vote, any Academy member, if you vote for the animation titles, we will let you vote on it when it goes to the Oscars. So here's the thing. The Academy, typically what happens is when we're doing nominations, everyone from the Academy votes on every subject. That was best sound, best art, doesn't matter. But then only the people within their fields will vote on each individual piece. So like writers will only do writing and screen adapting. Only the makeup artists are doing makeup, costumers costuming, all of that.
Kind of makes sense.
I think it makes
voting
hella
by your
sense.
peers.
I'm very curious because to me, a lot of times your animation winners are very like, you're like, where did that come from? Like the year the Book of Kells won, where I was like on the floor. I'm like, this movie is great. I hadn't seen it because it won at the Oscars. I checked it out. I think that's important. So I don't know. We'll have to see how it affects. I'd be curious to talk to an animator who's in the Academy and how they feel about other people being able to vote on their topic, because they're not opening it across the board. It's just for animation. So we'll have to see. Finally, we're going to get into something a little bit controversial, so I want to warn you, some trigger warnings, sexual assault. If you want to turn away, if you're under 13, I suggest, maybe go find mom or dad, see if they can give you some context for the conversation. But I didn't think we could be an animation show and not talk about the John Lasseter Pixar scandal that broke while we were on break, which is John Lasseter has been accused of sexual assault. Pixar, in their infinite wisdom, was like, why don't you take a seat while we investigate? John said in his original statement, not really apologizing or anything, but just essentially saying, I'll be back. I need to take a break, step away. Then, what really compounded this information was Rashida Jones, whom I love. She was Leslie Knope's best friend on 30 Rock. She is Quincy Jones's daughter, giant in the music industry. Leslie Jones, she's wonderful. Rashida Jones went to Pixar to make a movie and left because she said they didn't have a culture of inclusion there. This is something Disney has fought back really hard against, especially with the releases of Moana and Coco. Moana had a Pacific Island Trust, a group of artists, creators, and native Pacific Islanders who talk them through how do we accurately and not offensively portray your region? How do we tell your stories? A lot of people had a problem with that because, and not that they were asking for help, but the fact that you didn't just hire these people to do it. You put them in a trust, and then you basically had people ask them questions and then repurpose their work. So there's a question of where does that line go? I mean, it's great that you're including people, trying to get other voices, but those are jobs easily could have gone to Pacific Islanders.
Coco had a lot of involvement from Latino community, for sure. Like, reading the credits, you're like, yep. And then there's special thanks. I mean, I don't know full details, but...
Right. So it's interesting to me that somebody of Rashida's caliber left, saying that there's not something of inclusion there days after John Lasseter, I don't even want to say his release, leaves Pixar.
Well, it did say it's for Toy Story 4, so I'm curious on... Oh, it says, cites philosophical differences for Toy Story 4. I'm curious what those are, because, like, it makes sense with, like, Moana and Coco. Like, those are very specifically ethnically connected, so I'm like...
I believe a brown baby is the next main character, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And my guess is that's where Rashida was coming in.
Yeah.
I think it was going to be a mixed-race kid, too.
That would have been awesome.
Sure. So we'll have to see where they go from here. I think Pixar is going to have to rethink a lot of the work they do, especially because we see a lot of female animators online talking about, like, they're like, screw John Lasseter. I don't really care about him or any of the things that he's done. I'm very upset that women have not been given a chance to thrive. Think about how many stories have not been told here. Someone else online, and I'm so sorry, I wish I could remember your name, pointed out that there's only one female director in Pixar's history. That's for Frozen, and she was given half a credit.
That's not Pixar. Kung Fu Panda is.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
Kung Fu Panda is a woman.
Kung Fu Panda is not Pixar, though.
Yeah, that's why I was like, not Pixar. But Kung Fu Panda is she's not white, and she's a woman.
Right. So we know there's obviously a lot of animators are female, exist. Getting jobs can be challenging.
Just not as much, for sure.
Does this change the way you feel? I mean, I know you saw Coco. Some people called for a boycott of Coco, which a whole bunch of people turned around and said, shut up.
We talked about that too, of like, so many people are like, okay, don't boycott Coco just because of this person.
Lots of people worked on this
shortcomings, because so many other people worked on it, and also it's a film that we need to show it succeeding to show that representation matters. So it would be unfortunate for it to get any backlash just because of somebody else that's like, no. And so I would agree of like, no, don't boycott Coco because of that. We should see it. We should show that box office numbers matter for this. That's like, no, like, we should keep making movies like this.
Absolutely. Does this change at all how you feel about Pixar?
No, because it's kind of that, like, is one bad apple mean the whole batch is bad? It's a bad metaphor, but like,
it's hard with Pixar because John Lasseter is Pixar. Essentially, he's the one person who's really followed it through its inception to here back when it was a company owned by Steve Jobs. Like, Pixar's gone through a lot of iterations.
I'd want more details and like a breakdown, but we had that discussion on Box Office Breakdown for like how much is somebody affect their art that, like, would you boycott it? Like, would you not go see a movie because a producer, it's one of those, but so many other people worked on it. I wouldn't want them to suffer because of this one person, because that's almost letting them win.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's like, just because one, executive producer or somebody like that, or even director or one actor, It's like, but there's so many other people involved with making a film that it would be so unfortunate for it to not get the recognition it deserves.
Definitely. I do not suggest boycotting Coco. I will be taking a closer look at John Lasseter, Pixar's future reaction. It would be really upsetting if he just snuck back in there. And even more upsetting if he didn't answer for the crimes committed. I hope Pixar puts women in their forefront and hopefully gives them more opportunities to direct in the future. Because I think that there should easily be space for that.
Oh, for sure. They make enough content.
Definitely. That was our show this week, guys. Super fun. We have 2 shows in December, I believe, and then we'll be on a little break hiatus for Christmas and New Year's. When we come back, we've got a slew of guests for you. I am trying to book as many people as possible. I had so much fun talking to Bob Bergen last week. If you missed that interview, I highly suggest you go back. Bob is not only the voice of Porky Pig, but he is also the governor of the Television Academy, which is incredible. He talks about his experience in developing work, in creating the voice of, not creating the voice of Porky Pig, but finding the voice of Porky Pig within him, and then creating new characters. Really, really fun interview. Carrie D, tell the folks where they can find you until next time.
Yes, you all can find me online at Carrie D Lane. That's Karidlane. And then later on tonight for Marvel TV news. Tomorrow for horror movie news. And then on Wednesday, Vikings is starting up again.
Hey!
Yes. And then Sunday is box office breakdown. So similar to this of, what we talk about. Box office, a lot of similar overlap of topics. And then Star Trek Weekly right now, since the show isn't going on, we're just talking about Star Trek in general. So
gotta love that. I'm Joelle Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique, every week at blackgirlnerds.com. Check me out Sunday when I will be talking to hopefully stars of Star Wars. If not, I'll just be at the press conference, but I will get you guys photos and really cool quotes. You can check my Instagram or my Twitter for that. Stay tuned tonight. We've got Supergirl, Arrow, Flash. It's the crossover episodes. It's happening. So on Supergirl, we'll probably be talking about both Arrow and Supergirl for tonight, and then of course turning to the Flash and Legends of tomorrow night with those crews. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Candace is finally getting married. I have a lot of emotions about Black Brides right now, guys. It's really high. Also, Star Wars, we're on hiatus until the new year, but we're really excited for the second portion of the season. I host a lot of shows here. I can't remember them all right now, but check the AfterBuzz schedule. Thank you so much for joining us. We had a blast talking to you guys today, and we'll be back next week for Animation Weekly.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.